custody.
Does not qualify.
Your Honor, this defendant is before the court for arraignment on docket 24-3466. The complaint in town contains one count, the charge of murder, with a date of offense 12/6/2024 in the city of Chelsea. A plea of not guilty shall enter on his behalf.
So I'm gonna point you for bail only, but we can revisit that as far as his custody status. Obviously, can I see the financial?
If I could, maybe, until the next day, Your Honor, the plot is anything else.
Okay, so I'll appoint you, but provisionally until the next day. Sure.
Okay, great.
Okay, come on. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Madam Clerk. Kyle Siganolfi for the Commonwealth.
Anyone else?
The Commonwealth asked this court to hold the defendant without bail. Given the charge and the allegations here, I will respectfully report to the court that members of the victim's family and friends are present today. Factually, it's alleged that the defendant before the court on Friday, December 6th, at approximately 8:42 in the morning at the intersection of Central Avenue and Marginal Street, shot and killed his estranged wife, 32-year-old Melissa Janvier Pablo. Based on witness statements and video recovered from the area, it's alleged that the defendant approached the victim and she attempted to get away from him, that he physically assaulted her, that she ran from him, that he pursued her, and that when the victim fell at the median of Marginal Street and was on the ground with her body half raised in the direction of the defendant, that he pointed what appeared to be a firearm at her, and her upper body fell fully to the street. The defendant ran from the scene, and investigators discovered the victim had been shot twice, and they recovered 2 .40 caliber shell casings from the scene. The victim did not survive her injuries. Investigators were able to identify the defendant based on witness statements and video footage documenting the physical and clothing descriptions of the male party who assaulted and shot the victim, as well as descriptions and observations of a vehicle leaving the scene. And both the victim and the defendant were identified by someone who knew them, who viewed a video still from the moments leading up to the shooting. Additionally, when police encountered the defendant later that day, when he exited his apartment, he remarked that they would find a firearm inside, and officers executing a search warrant did recover a .40 caliber firearm in his residence, consistent with the caliber of ballistics evidence found at the scene, and they also discovered magazines and ammunition. Those are the factual allegations underlying the charge before the court.
So the firearm was recovered at his address?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Counsel?
Thank you, Dan Fitzgerald for Mr. Pablo and Your Honor. Just a couple of preliminary remarks with regard to the facts. It's my understanding that one of the lines in the police report mentioned that it came to their knowledge, or they learned of Mr. Pablo where he was located, probably because it was he that called the police and told them where he was. The police arrived at the address shortly after this incident, a couple of hours later maybe, and he was arrested without incident. I asked the court to recognize further that Mr. Pablo has no record. 31 years old, never been arrested, never been charged with a crime, never been in custody before. He's got no history, apparently, of any kind of violence, certainly, not regarding his record, but any domestic violence, no restraining orders. He had a full-time job. As you heard, he may or may not qualify for even court-appointed counsel at some point because he was earning, paid for his own rent, had just moved into the apartment in which he was located only a couple of days before. I have some motions with regard to that, Your Honor, some personal items that were seized that may not have any evidentiary value, but I'd ask the court at some point to rule on having those items returned. In any event, what comes with somebody having no record is there's no defaults. I suggest strongly that this warrants a cash bail under those kinds of circumstances. Somebody who's never been in court before, brand new to the system. That being said, Your Honor, I have, at this stage, while it may not be prudent to return certain items, I'd certainly ask that those items be preserved, whatever they may be, so that it's not thrown out because they don't have any evidentiary value as far as the police are concerned. So, for all those reasons, Your Honor, I suggest at this stage, cash bail is warranted. Thank you.
Okay, based upon the facts and circumstances and the strength of the Commonwealth's case, let it to be held without bail, pending trial.
We agreed on January 7th, Your Honor, for the next date.
Okay, January 7th for probable cause.
Matters continued January 7th, 2025 for probable cause hearing.
Your Honor, may I be heard? I neglected to alert the court. I do have two motions that I'd ask the court to consider today, one being a motion to impound and one being a protective order.
No objection.
Okay, you can hand those forward.
Thank you.
While we're doing that, Your Honor, I have three motions, actually four. One's for fund and the other one's having to do with the preservation of evidence and personal property.
Your Honor, with respect to the defendant's motions to preserve property, I would
One of them, needs it was a typo one.
I would propose providing what would be an agreement to retainment of property. The motion as written now is beyond the scope of what the Commonwealth would assent to, but I think we would come to an agreement and be able to file that with the court.
Okay. Okay, Commonwealth's motion to allow. So you're gonna submit another motion to preserve?
And a little more detail as they,
Okay, I'm not gonna act on the retrieval return property.
no, I just wanted to file that one, but the preservation of personal life has to be allowed, whatever it may be.
Motion for funds is allowed.
Thank you.
Probable cause of person. Thank you.
Sir, you're going to be held without bail pending trial. Your matter has been continued to January 7th, 2025 for probable cause hearing. If you fail to comply with any conditions imposed by this board, if you're rearrested or charged with any new criminal conduct during the pendency of this case, you could be continued. January 7th.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.